Hi, Emily here with Shen Road Acupuncture. I'm here today to talk to you about Moxibustion and specifically how you can use it at the end of your pregnancy if you have a baby that is in the breech presentation. So you may have looked into this already a little bit and that's how you ended up here, or maybe you came and saw me for acupuncture and I sent you here to watch the instructions on how to do this on yourself at home. So, very briefly, what is moxibustion? Also often called moxa for short. So, moxibustion is an herb that's used in traditional Chinese medicine. It's also known as mugwort, and I believe it's used in other herbalism traditions as well. If you want to look a little bit into it in terms of what else it's used for, what the properties are, if you're interested in things like that, feel free to do a little research on it. But for our purposes here, what we need to know is that it is used to help turn breech babies. And there's actually quite a bit of research that has been done on this, and it has a fairly high success rate when it's done at the proper time and when it's done properly. So it's a great thing to try if you find yourself in this position. So the basic idea is we'll be using this. This is the form that I have. So moxibustion comes in lots of different forms, depending on what type of use you're needing it for. This is what we're going to be using, and we'll get into this in a little bit. But the basic idea is you light this. So you light the end of it. It kind of looks like a cigar. So you're going to have the end of it lit, and then you are using it on a specific acupuncture point. The moxa is very warming. So the point that we're using it on has a direct connection to the uterus. The basic idea is that through the warming action of the herb, it is warming and stimulating the uterus, which in Chinese medicine is what is necessary for the baby to be able to get head down into that birth ready position. We need that warming action for the baby to get there. So I'm not going to go too much into that. Like I said, this is just meant to be an instructional video. So that's the basic idea. So first, what you're going to need to do is gather up your supplies. So if you did come to see me for acupuncture, I likely sent you home with this box. Sorry, trying to get it in focus there. This box of the moxibustion. This is the kind I'm using currently. The main reason I like this is because it's smokeless. There are other types that aren't smokeless, but that are still like in a stick form like this. That's fine as an option if you happen to get some on your own and it's not this type. It's likely still going to work for you. The main reason I like the smokeless is that the treatment length for this is 20 minutes at a time. So if you've got a big stick like this smoking for 20 minutes, it's likely to get very irritating, irritating to the lungs. For some people, it can kind of lead to headaches or lots of sneezing. So if you do have a kind that isn't the smokeless, I recommend maybe doing it outside if you can. Regardless, even with this kind, I do always recommend, again, you can do it outside if you want. If you're inside, have an open window if you can, or have a fan turned on, or maybe an air purifier, something to just keep the air circulating in the room. Even though this one doesn't have a lot of smoke with it, it does have a smell and it does tend to linger in the air. So again, you're doing it for 20 minutes at a time. So you just want to keep that air circulating. And always be careful if you've got little children at the house or pets, just be careful. This will be lit. We don't want anybody to get burned. Okay. So we're gathering up our supplies. So if you have your moxa stick, great. This is the type that we're using here. We're going to need to light this. Again, because this is the smokeless kind, it's undergone this charcoal process that makes it smokeless. But because of that, it is really thick and dense, as you can see. So it takes a while to get this lit. In fact, I'm probably going to go ahead and get this started so it can be going while I'm talking. I recommend using a candle, so you can just have the candle lit and just hold it over because it'll take a while. If you don't have a candle, that's fine. You know, if you don't use candles, I don't really use them that much either. Um, so if you don't have a candle, I recommend using this type of lighter versus this type, just because you're going to have to hold it here for a long time trying to get it lit, and this is going to get really hot on your finger. So use a candle or use a lighter like this. So I'm going to go ahead and get mine started because, like I said, it does take a little while. So the basic idea with this is, the main thing is we want it to be lit evenly all the way around, okay? And I'll show you why in a little bit. So I'm actually going to set this here. See if I can get that propped up so that I can start lighting. Okay, so I've got those things. The other thing that you want to have handy is a little container. Again, this is going to be lit. So just like, you know, a cigar or like an incense stick, it's going to produce ash as it burns. So you want something to just tap off the ashes into as you're working. You can't see here, I've got my stuff piled on it, but you might want to have a towel or something too to put underneath yourself as you're working, just to catch any of those loose ashes that might fall. So I'll just show you here as I'm getting this lit, so you can see it starts to light on one side. Then I'm just going to turn so it'll get lit on the other side as well. So again, I want this to burn evenly, and I'm already starting to smell it. So again, it does have a smell. It's just not going to be smoky, this kind. I'm just going to hold that. Okay, so you've got your moxa, you've got your lighter or your candle, you've got a towel, you've got a little container that you can put your ashes in. And then for at the end to put this out, what I like to do is get a glass jar with a lid, coat the bottom with some dried rice or a dried grain of some kind. And then when you're done using this, I've got another one here. This is a different type of moxa stick, kind of looks like a cigarette. When you're done with it, you can just put it down in there, close the lid, and then that'll extinguish it. And if you still have some left, like I do on this white one here, you can use it again the next day. So for the breech presentation, sorry, real quickly here, once you see it lighting like this, I like to blow on it, and that'll show me where it's lit. You can see it lights up red, and then it kind of helps it again get lit all the way across. It's actually getting there pretty quickly. It's actually lighting up pretty nicely here. There you can see it's getting all the way across there. And I just blow on it to get it there. Perfect. Okay, so that is lit and ready to go. I'm just going to rest this here. Now, the ideal time to do this is between 34 and 36 weeks. If you are beyond that, that's okay. I still recommend trying it. But when it comes to the research that's been done on it and the effectiveness of this treatment, 34 or 35 weeks is kind of that sweet spot window. So if that's where you're at, great. Again, if you're past that, I would still definitely try it, and I have seen success with it. So what I want you to do with this is, I haven't even told you where we're working yet. Okay, so the point that we're doing this on is going to be on the foot, but I'm going to show you real quick on my hand. So if this is my foot, okay, this would be my pinky toe, right? So the point is at the edge of the pinky toe. So the nail is here, just on the outer edge, the corner of the nail right here. Okay, that's where the point is on the foot. So the protocol is to do this for 10 days, 20 minutes each day. Okay, and so again, it's going to be on the foot. I'm going to show you this in just a minute, but first I'm going to show you the technique on my hand here. Okay, so I've got my lit moxa stick. Pretending again that this is my foot. Put my arm in the candle here. So we're going to do this pecking technique. So essentially, I'm taking the lit end of this. I'm coming close to this point on my foot and then away. Close, away, close, away, like a pecking. Okay? You never want to touch yourself. This is lit. You will get burnt. Okay. So, again, this is why you need to be careful if there's any children or pets around. You don't want somebody to bump into you and then you accidentally burn yourself. And you can do this on yourself. But again, the point is on the side of your foot. So it's a little bit tricky. If you have a partner that can help do this for you, that would be wonderful because then you can just sit back and relax while they do it. But again, whether you're doing it or somebody else is doing it, whoever's doing it has to be paying attention. It's easy to do, but it's also easy to get distracted and then accidentally burn yourself or somebody gets burned. So whoever's doing it needs to be paying attention. You're doing this, right? That's it. I've had the feedback I've gotten from partners is that it's boring. Okay, it kind of is, but you have to pay attention because it would be very easy for me to get distracted, look away, and then boom, I'm getting burned. So whoever's doing it needs to be paying attention. If you do have a partner doing it for you, then like I said, you can lay back, relax, get yourself into a nice, comfortable position, lay back in a recliner. Again, if you're outside and have somewhere comfortable to sit, you can kind of have your feet up. I have had feedback from some women who have done it if you're doing something like spinning babies as well to try to help get baby to flip, where they'll kind of get into one of their spinning babies position and do it while they're in that position. That's fine if you want to try that. It's not necessary. What else? If you're doing it on yourself, okay, the traditional advice is to get in a squat. You squat down and then you have access to each foot. Now, if you can do that with your pregnant belly and you are flexible and strong enough to do that, that is amazing. Good for you. That's awesome. If you want to do it that way, go for it. You can even see if I have another one here, because you can even, if you feel comfortable, or if the person who is doing it on you feels comfortable, you can have one in each hand, and then you're going, okay, pretend my feet are here, both feet at the same time. I don't recommend this the first time. I want you to get the hang of it first, but that is an option. But otherwise, so you're going to be spending about 20 minutes here. You can do this one of two ways. You can be in one position and just do one foot for 10 minutes and then switch if you need to, rotate or switch your position. That's fine. You can do that and then go do the other foot for another 10 minutes. If you need to, shift position, or if you're doing it on yourself or if you're a little bit of short on time or something, you can go back and forth, one foot, the other foot, one foot, the other foot. That's not the best way. You could also do like 5 minutes to this foot, switch and do 5 minutes to this foot, and then do that for the 20 minutes. Either way is fine, okay? So you're either going to do 10 minutes to one foot, 10 minutes to the other foot, or do 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes. Okay, easy enough. Okay, so I am going to show you my feet now, just real quick, so I can show you a little bit better of how to do this. So I'm just going to kind of come up here. Okay, so just like I showed you on my hand, okay? I'm just going to tap this off a little bit. It's a little bit ashy. And let me put my towel down. Again, any drips that come down, I can catch those here. Okay, so here's the spot right here on the side of my toe. And I'm just doing this pecking. Tap off those ashes, and I'm pecking. Whoever is doing this for you, they can also put a finger sort of right next to it so that they can have a sense of if they're coming too close or not. Essentially, you want to feel a nice warmth here, but if it feels too hot, just tell them like, hey, don't come quite so close. That's too hot. Okay. If it's too hot, then you just back up a little bit, come farther back. But if they have their finger here, that can be, kind of a guiding post for them of if it feels too hot on their finger, it's probably feeling too hot on your toe, so they should back up. So it's just this. That's it, just this pecking motion. You'll feel the nice heat at your toe. You might even start to feel it kind of come up your foot and up your leg a little bit. This is a great sign. You may also find that baby starts to get very active. This is a great sign, right? This is what we want. We're trying to encourage movement. And there tends to be a time frame. Often on the third day of doing this, women will have a big movement where they feel, oh, I think baby might have just flipped. If it doesn't happen on the third day, for whatever reason, often on the seventh day is another time that tends to be a big time of movement for the baby. So don't be discouraged if it doesn't happen right away. Remember, this is a 10-day treatment course, so it may not happen right away, but you are likely to feel lots of fetal activity. So that's great. If you're like into, talking to your baby, talk to your baby as you're doing this, and try to encourage them that it's safe to turn, it's safe to go head down and get ready for birth, and how excited you are to meet them. And of course, if there are any physical reasons why baby is not turning head down, then okay, we don't want to force anything. But that's the nice thing about this treatment, as it's so gentle. If baby can't get head down for whatever reason, this is not going to force anything. This is not going to cause any damage. Honestly, the biggest risk here is you burning yourself. So it's a nice, gentle treatment. It tends to be very relaxing. So again, if you have a partner or somebody else who's helping you do this, you can just be, sitting back and relaxing and, like I said, talking to the baby, or if you're doing any, preparation for birth, any meditations or visualizations, this is a great time to do that. Or if you and your partner want to have a little chat, or, just put on a podcast or something. So again, just making sure that the person who is actually doing the moxibustion is paying attention. Okay, so you've got that, you're doing this pecking, and then when you're done here, you're going to switch over. I'm not going to bring my other foot up, but you get the idea. You're going to switch over and do your other foot. And then you have your container here, so you can knock off the ashes as you need to. And then when you're done, make sure you get a jar that's tall enough that it can go in. Although if you're doing this for 20 minutes, which is the treatment protocol here, you're only going to have a little bit left at that point. But you probably still will have some left. So you're just going to put it down in here. Oh, that's fine. Close that, and that'll suffocate it. That'll put it out. And then you can reuse that again tomorrow. So as long as you can still hold it comfortably, you can reuse it. So usually I send people home with 2 boxes of these, so that's going to be 10 sticks. So you've got 1 per day, but you may end up with some left over because you may end up not needing to use a whole one each day. And check back for another video, because actually a really, really nice treatment that you can do with any leftover moxa after the baby's born, there's a really nice treatment called mother warming. So I'll go into that in another video. So save the moxa sticks when you're done with them, so you can do that after the baby comes. One more thing about this. So if you do find, say you are at that 3 or 7 or anywhere in between, okay, if you haven't yet finished the 10-day course and baby has flipped and gone head down, that's awesome. Obviously, that's what we want. I do recommend continuing the treatment and finishing the 10-day course. So the treatment is it's not simply encouraging movement, it's actually encouraging head down birth ready position. So sometimes what can happen is baby flips head down, mom says, okay, great, we're ready. They stop doing it, and then baby ends up flipping again. So I recommend continuing for the full 10-day course If baby does flip and you do have confirmation of that, you can cut back the length of time. So instead of doing it for 20 minutes a day, continue it, but you can get away with just doing for 10 minutes. But again, I do recommend continuing it for the full 10 days to really help encourage baby to stay in that head down position. Okay, I think I covered everything. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out and let me know, and good luck.